there's a division of LinkedIn called LinkedIn Labs. And these apps came from LinkedIn Labs. They have, I think, a total about 25 or 30, but they're coming out with new ones all the time, buying companies, etc. But there's also great third-party apps. Signal, I have a course that I teach specifically on Signal. It's an incredibly powerful research and monitoring tool. It allows you to filter and selection criteria, allowing users to narrow down topics. This is what it looks like. Once again, hard to read on this big screen, right? But the point is that what it allows you to do is to go in and look at your connections updates, and you can choose, do I want only first level connections? Do I want first and second, or do I want all three? And what it allows you to do is then organize around different topics, different companies, so you can find out what updates are being posted by different people at different companies at different times by manipulating all of these variables. It's an incredibly powerful tool. Once again, it's free. And so really what it's telling you is it's telling you here are the things that interest the people you're interested in talking to. These are the articles that they're reading. This is what's going on in their life, in their business, in their career. And so now you have the information you need in order to share information with them, in order to engage in discussions, in order to communicate with them on LinkedIn. Okay. In addition to that, there's instant search, which is very, very cool. You just type in a company name. It's like a little thing, it looks like a Google box. And it instantly tells you everyone who's ever worked for that company that's been on LinkedIn. So not just current, but past employees as well. So it's a great way to get a quick directory of who's up there, and you get their picture, not just their name. And then there's a connection timeline. What's very cool about this is that it takes about a minute to load, but then essentially what it does is it shows your career in a timeline from date X to today. And as you slide your picture along that bar, it shows you all the people that you connected with at that particular time frame or at that particular company, because it actually breaks down based on your profile, where you were working at the time, what years you were there. And it's a really, really cool tool if you want to figure out, who are the people that you need to communicate with from a particular company that you work for, or when you connected with somebody. A lot of great apps. Okay. There is now on LinkedIn, just like there's been on Facebook for a few years, capability to do pay-per-click ads. Ads appear along the sidebar with a photo and 25-character headline, 75-character description. They're little ads, okay, little pay-per-click ads. And you can put a logo on there, you can put a photo, but as you can see, it's just a few characters. They're even shorter than a tweet, okay? But what it allows you to do is to, test different variations of your message, what the offer is, what your actual context is in terms of how you're explaining the offer. But you can also micro-target, which is incredibly powerful. So I actually did an ad for a client once where we were actually targeting 6 people. So imagine that, an ad that you only pay for the 6 people that you want to see it, okay? And what you do is you go in there and say, I want only people that work at this company or were at that company from this time to this time. They have to be male or they have to be female, they have to be this age, whatever it happens to be. And you can refine this to the point where you only advertise to the exact people that you want to see your ad. And so all of a sudden, pay-per-click ads are much, much more powerful because now they're based on identifying and micro-targeting the precise people that you want to see the ad. So that way you're not paying for just anybody to click on your ad. Only the people that you want to see it will see it. And so this is a very, very powerful tool. And it also has some good analytics to show you, which ad is doing better than the other, how many more clicks, how many, sales, all that stuff. So you want to monitor your prospects' activity to identify their purchasing time frame. One of the ways is to use Signal to monitor discussions. You also can use Signal to find out what people are saying about your company. So you can actually find out what's out there, and when people are talking about you or your company. LinkedIn Today is the other news feed that you have available on LinkedIn. And this is very, very industry specific. And so what it'll do is it'll create a news feed for you for your industry that tells you, what the latest articles are about your particular topical area. Connect directly with prospects and clients and watch what groups they join and who they connect with. Analyze their first level contacts, okay? you really want to get value out of this, you got to spend time on it, okay? If you're spending, 5 minutes a week on LinkedIn, I can pretty much guarantee you, you're not going to get much value. So it's a commitment. And this is one of the reasons why you have to pick the right platform. You want to make sure that the people that you are communicating with are the right people. And professionals are going to be on LinkedIn. Another example, this is another great LinkedIn ad. I love the little play on words, lunch meet. But basically what it does is say you're free for lunch. Somebody wrote a book, Never Eat Alone. I don't know if anybody's ever read that. But this really plays to that whole concept. So what you do is if you're free for lunch someday, just that morning, put on there, hi, I'm Dan, I'm Sally, I'm Joe, and I'm free for lunch from hour X to hour Y. And people can reach out to you and say, well, I'm available, and then you can meet them for lunch. So you don't have to call a bunch of people so you can find somebody, but you can basically let people know that you're available, and you can meet with one or more of them if you choose to. But once again, it's just another tool, one of these many tools for engagement, because that's what it's all about, okay? It's all about engagement. And then check answers to learn what questions your clients are asking, what questions they may be answering, and engage with them. So, good marketing is more science than art. The results of a good strategy, well executed, are both predictable and repeatable. This is something that's really changed a lot in the marketing game in the last few years, is that traditionally the creatives were the people that controlled marketing. And creatives are still enormously important to the marketing process. But now marketing is really dominated by analytics, and it's a numbers game. And that's why it's all about ROI and all about what works and all about making sure that the money you spend actually gives you a return. LinkedIn must be an integral piece of the company's overall marketing strategy, particularly if you're in the business-to-business space. A strong marketing strategy needs to start with asking the right questions. So once again, now we've gone full circle, starting with strategy, working back into integrating with strategy. So what do you really know about your customers? Why do customers buy from you? Do you really know that? Do you understand why they buy from you as opposed to your competitor? You better learn that, because ultimately you're not going to be able to duplicate that success elsewhere unless you understand their motivations. When do they buy from your competitors? Because guess what? They probably do from time to time. And you need to understand why they at times choose to buy from your competitor rather than from you. What do customers want from their buying experience? How do customers perceive your value proposition? It's not at a point of what you meant to say, it's how people perceive it. What social media sites do they frequent? You need to find out where the platforms are and meet them there. What content would they value from your company? So once again, understanding how you can help people, because ultimately social media is about earning the right to actually engage with them in a sale. And this is the difference between the old way of selling and social media. Are you realizing your full potential? Should you expand geographically? Is your product mix producing strong margins? Do you need to maybe add different products? Are you in the right business segments? Where will future growth come from? One of the reasons so many companies got hurt with the recession that started in 2008 was because they didn't really have plans for what would happen if there was a recession. The thing is a big part of what we do in strategic planning is we do game theory, and we go through ideas as that what could happen. There could be an earthquake, there could be a financial collapse in the US or in Europe. There's all sorts of different scenarios. Is understanding, and you can obviously boil that down, that's a more global approach. You can boil that down to your business, but you need to be thinking about contingency plans. What if you lose your biggest customer? What if your biggest customer just goes out of business? You need to plan against that contingency so you can understand how you can continue to grow your business even in the face of that kind of catastrophe or in the event of an economic meltdown. Are you in the right segments? What is your unique value proposition, which we talked about? What new products or services are in your pipeline? What are the things that your customers want from you that are coming soon? One of the benefits of a LinkedIn marketing strategy is it gives you increased sales to both new and existing clients. So it's not just about finding new customers, but it's about engaging with and getting additional business from your existing customers because you really understand what they need. What social media is at the end of the day, and LinkedIn in particular, it's about teaching you a new methodology, a new discipline for how you need to understand what your customers want or need. You know, back in the 80s and 90s, we had this thing we called consultative selling. You know, we thought it was very, very clever. But the point is that it was not about going out and saying, here's my pitch book, here's my sample case, whatever it is that I'm selling, please buy some, you know, let's take an order. It's about going in and asking questions. That's why I started with all these questions, because you need to ask questions of your customer before you try to sell something to them, because you have no idea what they really need or want to buy. And so it's teaching you engagement. It's teaching you consulting with customers, not just trying to shove your solution down their throat. You want to be able to stay ahead of the competition, aware of what your clients' issues are, anticipate changes in market conditions. First to market with new product offerings, that's a place where you want to be able to anticipate what your clients want. You know, Steve Jobs had a really, really interesting perspective on this, okay? You know, that's why the iPod, the iPad, all these wonderful, the iPhone, all these wonderful innovations, they didn't do focus groups. They didn't go to people and say, well, what would you like, you know, your product to do? They basically said, we need to define what the customer wants to do. Because guess what? I've run plenty of focus groups. Most people don't know. Or if they do know, they don't know how to articulate what they need. You know, it's like what people say, well, I'll know it when I see it. Well, that's not very helpful, is it? So you need to show it to them. And you need to be looking at this from the perspective of how are people interacting with your product segment, what are the things that they need from your product or service, and what are they going to need a year from now or 5 years from now. And it's planning that. And if you do that, you'll be very successful at what you do. Keep your firm reputation relevant and top of mind with your customers. That's why all this interaction gets you awareness. People are aware of you, they're aware of your company. And regular client interaction provides continued growth to your company. Okay. Other reasons why your company should be on LinkedIn. Number one, track your competitors' hiring, new products. Use LinkedIn email blasts. You can send up to 50 emails at a time to first-level contacts. It's a great feature. LinkedIn Labs gives you a lot of free apps. LinkedIn Today and Signal are great news sources, and you can integrate with your customer relationship management system. So what's next? Do you want to learn more about LinkedIn? Are you ready to use social media to power your growth and get the jump on your competition? To grow your business, you need to do three things. You know, the first thing you need to understand is, you know, sitting here for an hour and a half, you now do not walk out and know everything you ever need to know about LinkedIn. It's not that simple. The fact is that what I can do is I can save you a lot of time in the process. So first of all, consider arranging a half-day sales engagement workshop. I can do that for you or your company. In addition to that, I have always encouraged people to do one-on-one coaching sessions. I do 2-hour sessions, one-on-one. And the beauty of that is that we can actually take everything that I've taught you today and everything that I've learned about LinkedIn and use that in order to refine your profile, refine your presence on LinkedIn in a way that's going to achieve your objectives. Let's make sure that we're hitting on the right keywords so that when people are looking for a solution, they're going to find you as opposed to your competitor. And then you want to look at spending at least 30 minutes per day growing and working your network. Okay? You should actually block out time every day to do that. You know, some people actually set a goal and say, I want to connect with 1 new person a day, or I want to connect with 10 new people a week, whatever it happens to be. But keep in mind, first and foremost, that it's about quality, not quantity. So these are the services that I offer. I'd be more than happy to help any of you achieve your social media goals. At the end of the day, you're better off spending your time building relationships and engaging with clients than doing research to learn more about LinkedIn or about any other site. In a few hours, I can teach you more than you can learn on your own in 6 months. And so you'll find that you'll be much more successful more quickly if you take the training and coaching that I offer.